Welcome, students. Today we're doing lesson 3.8, adding decimals. The key to adding decimals or subtracting decimals is to make sure that you line up the decimal points. When you line up your decimal points, you are lining up the place values. So you're lining up the ones, the tenths, and the hundredths places so that you could add the correct place values together. For our first example problem here, Henry recorded the amount of rain that fell during 2 hours. In the first hour, Henry measured 2 35/100ths of a centimeters of rain. In the second hour, he measured 1 82/100 centimeters of rain that fell. Henry estimated that 4 centimeters had fallen during those 2 hours. So what we're going to do is we're going to add these up, and we're going to actually find if his estimate was reasonable. Now, we're not going to estimate in this chapter, so we're going to spend most of our time doing the exact when we add here. So we're going to find the sum. Remember, sum is the answer to an addition problem. And we're going to add each place value. Now, the first thing they've done is they have lined up the decimal points. So the 2 35/100ths and the 1 82/100ths, they've lined the decimal points up. What that's going to allow us to do first is to add the hundredths place together. 5 plus 2 equals 7. Then we're going to add the tenths place. 3 plus 8 equals 11. We're going to carry our 1 to the ones place. Our decimal point, when we line these up, the decimal point will drop straight down. Then we're going to add our ones place, which is 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 1 more is 4. So our answer is 4 17/100ths. If Henry estimated that the rainfall was about 4 centimeters, he would be correct, and that's a reasonable answer because the exact is 4 17/100ths. Now, also in this chapter, they want you to draw a quick picture. We are not going to draw the picture either. We're just going to line up our decimals and add. On the second page, equivalent decimals. When adding decimals, you can use equivalent decimals to help keep the numbers aligned in each place. Remember that you can add zeros to the right of the last digit as needed, so that the add-ins have the same number of decimal places. What that's saying here, guys, is just remember you can add as many zeros to the back of your number behind the decimal, and that answer will always still be the same. So remember, when you're lining things up, if you need to place a 0, like we're going to in the next problem, you can do that. So the next problem is 20 4/10ths plus 13 76/100ths. Now, the first thing we're going to do is, again, line our decimal points up. Now, it doesn't matter if you put 20 4/10ths on the top or 13 76/100ths on the top, because commutative property says that you can flip-flop that order and it's still going to be the same answer. So they put 20 4/10ths on the top. Now, because there's only 4/10ths, they added a 0 in the hundredths place, so that both numbers will have digits to the hundredths place. Now, we can go ahead and then add, since we've lined up our decimal and we've added any necessary zeros. 0 plus 6 equals 6. 4 plus 7 is 11. Carry our 1 to the ones place. The decimal point will then drop straight down. 3 plus 0 is 3, plus the extra 1 is 4. And 2 plus 1 equals 3, giving us our total of 34 16/100ths. 34 16/100ths. Now, on the left here, they have estimated, and they rounded each of these to the ones place. So they rounded 20. The 4 tells the 2 or the 0 to stay the same, so they rounded it to 20. 3 looks to the 7, tells it to bump up. So in the estimation, you should get 34. We are not going to estimate again in this chapter. But if you do happen to see it down the road, you know that you can always round to the ones place or the tenths place, but the tenths place is going to be difficult here because there is no hundredths digit. So I would round to the ones place here. Go ahead and write our answer in 34 and 1600ths. Looking down at the share and show, the first question, again, we're not going to estimate, so you can go ahead and cross that off on your homework tonight as well. You're more than welcome to estimate if you would like, just to see if your answer is reasonable, but we're not going to require it. Number 1, 2 and 5 tenths plus 4 and 6 tenths. The decimal points line up, and we're going to go ahead and add the tenths place. 5 plus 6 is 11. Carry my 1. We're going to bring the decimal point straight down. And now we're going to add 2 plus 4 is 6 plus 1 is 7. The answer is 7 and 1/10. Number 2, again, line the decimal points up so that each place value is lined up. We're going to add the hundredths place first. 5 plus 3 equals 8. 7 plus 4 is 11. Carry the 1. Bring our decimal point straight down. 8 plus 6 is 14, plus the extra 1 is 15. And we get 15 and 18 hundredths as our answer. Question number 3, 2 and 3 hundredths plus 7 and 89 hundredths. Decimal points are lined up. 3 plus 9 is 12. The 1 carries to the tenths place. 8 plus 0 is still 8, plus 1 is 9. The decimal point drops straight down. 2 plus 7 equals 9, giving us an answer of 9 and 92 hundredths. So questions 1, 2, and 3 were already lined up for you. When you get to question number 4 here, again, we have to really make sure that we line our decimal points up. So we're going to go 6 and 34 hundredths first. Then we're going to place our decimal point directly below, and we're going to add 3 and 8 tenths. Now, when we do that, the hundredths place is missing a digit. This is where we said earlier, you can add a 0, anything behind the decimal point and behind the last number, as many zeros as you need, and it will not change the value of that number. So 3 and 8 tenths is also the same as 3 and 80 hundredths. Now we can go ahead and add 4 plus 0 is 4. 3 plus 8 is 11. Carry our 1. Decimal point comes straight down. 6 plus 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. 10 and 14 hundredths. Question number 5. Again, we're not going to estimate. We're going to put 5 and 63 hundredths down. We're going to then put 2 and 6 tenths, but we're going to make sure that our decimal points are lined up so that our ones place and our tenths place match. We then will add a 0 in the hundredths place and make it 2 and 60 hundredths. Now we can go ahead and add these up. 3 plus 0 is 3. 6 plus 6 is 12. Carry our 1. Decimal point comes straight down. 5 plus 2 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. When you add decimals, guys, it's just the same as adding regular whole numbers. The only key is make sure you line up your decimals. If you're not lining your decimals up, the place values will not line up, and you're going to get the answer incorrect. You can also do this with word form, and we're going to go ahead and do 6 and 7 here. Number 6 says 7 and 25 hundredths. So 7 and 25 hundredths. And we're going to add that to 9 and 4 tenths. 9 and 4 tenths. The decimal points will line up. We can also add a 0 here. And again, if you didn't add a 0 in this case, nothing's going to change. You're just going to have 5 plus nothing is still going to be 5. But it's going to be good practice to put that 0 there, especially when we move into subtraction. You're really going to need to make sure you put that extra 0 in the place values that do not have enough digits. So it's a good habit. It doesn't change anything for addition, but just make sure you get in a habit of putting that, especially when you get to a subtraction problem. 2 plus 4 equals 6. Decimal point comes straight down. 7 plus 9 is 16. And for question number 6, we get 16 and 65 hundredths. Number 7, 12 and 8 hundredths. Now that's key. 12 and 8 hundredths. That is 12.08. The 8 must be in the hundredths place. That is not 12 and 8 tenths. Okay, this is 12 and 8 hundredths. We're going to add that to 4 and 35 hundredths. 4 and 35 hundredths. Now, there's nothing in the tens place here. If you want, you can add a 0 if needed. You do not have to, but you can also add that there. So everything has a digit lined up in it. 8 plus 5 is 13. Carry our 1. 0 plus 3 is 3, plus the 1 is 4. Bring our decimal point straight down. 2 plus 4 equals 6. And then 1 plus nothing gives us 1. 16 and 43 hundredths. Again, make sure that you bring the decimal point straight down. Go ahead and hit pause and do questions number 8 and 9. When you hit play, we'll reveal the answer. All right, let's go ahead and check this for number 8. You had 19 and 7 tenths added to 4 and 92 hundredths. And number 9, 1 and 82 hundredths added to 15 and 8 tenths. We can go ahead and look at this. 19 and 7 tenths, we added a 0 and made it 19 and 70 hundredths. When we added this up, you get 24 and 62 hundredths. And then when we added 1 and 82 hundredths to 15 and 8 tenths, we added an extra 0 there in the hundredths place, so making it 15 and 80 hundredths. And we got 17 and 62 hundredths. We're going to choose question number 11 here to do. 15 and 76 hundredths added to 8 and 2 tenths. Again, decimal point needs to line up. A lot of students, when they make a mistake, are going to put the 8 and 2 tenths here, which is incorrect because the decimal points are not lined up. So we need to make sure that we line our decimal points up. 8 and 2 tenths. Add those together. We're going to add a 0 if needed and go 6 plus 0 is 6. 7 plus 2 is 9. Bring our decimal point straight down. And you can't bring it straight down unless you line those decimal points up. 5 plus 8 is 13. And then 1 plus 1 equals 2. 23 and 96 hundredths. Looking at number 12, the same holds true here. 9 and 6 tenths. 5 and 49 hundredths. We're adding that to that. We're trying to find the sum. Remember, sum means the answer to an addition problem. Go ahead and add a 0 in the hundredths place to 9 and 6/10, now making it 9 and 60 hundredths. Add those up, you get 9, 6 and 4 makes 10. Carry your 1. 1 and 9 makes 10, plus 5 is 15. Decimal point comes straight down, 15 and 9 hundredths. All right, guys, that's the end of today's lesson. Good work. Go ahead and start your homework. A big thing would be I would check it with a calculator or ask your parents to check it to make sure that you are lining your decimal points up correctly and doing the correct addition. If you have any questions, please message me or Mrs. Loddick. Again, have a great day.